Hello and welcome to Low Budget Gaming. So the Xbox Series X specs have been revealed or confirmed, I should say, and they are quite interesting. And I wanted to talk about this in things like what we can expect for the next generation of games on console and as well as PC, because it does affect PC a bit as well. And also talk about the pricing, which quite a few people don't seem to be talking about, at least the sites that I've seen and read, articles I've read. Not a lot of them seem to be talking about the price. Anyway, we got this information yesterday from Phil Spencer, head of Xbox. So basically we have 12 teraflops on the GPU side of things, variable rate shading, hardware accelerated DirectX ray tracing, quick resume for multiple games. There's some of the features, and smart delivery. I don't know what smart delivery is. So next gen custom processor. So we have Zen 2 and RDNA 2. So this is basically Big Navi, because if you are following the rumors of the graphics card, we have been hearing about Big Navi is coming anytime soon, and this pretty much confirms that we will have a Big Navi soon. And the reason why it hasn't arrived yet is because it is in the Xbox One X and One X, Series X, I don't know how it's called. So anyway, so this new Xbox will have the Big Navi RDNA 2 graphics card. So my guess is towards the end of the year, we should probably have the Big Navi 5900 XT, whatever it's called, on PC as well. Now in other sites, they have been comparing it in terms of the teraflops as being close to the 2080 Ti. Now, of course, teraflops is not an exact way of measuring GPU power. And of course, on consoles, these things are more optimized. But it seems very powerful. And they are promising 4K 60. Of course, 4K 60 probably not for everything, but they should be able to do it for a lot of games if they have such a powerful GPU. DirectX. So this also confirms that RDNA 2 is going to have hardware accelerated ray tracing. So AMD is also going to have the ray tracing. NVIDIA has already obviously had that in the Turing range. So all sounding pretty good. SSD is there. Now this quick resume thing lets you continue multiple games from a suspended state almost instantly. I don't know if this is a big feature. I mean, if you already have an SSD, do you really need this as well on top of it? Like, how lazy are you that you want to pause 4 games at the same time and then just jump into it? I mean, it takes a few seconds to start up, especially if you have an SSD. So I don't know about this one, but yeah, maybe some people might like it. Dynamic latency inputs. We are present in a console pipeline. Okay, something on that. HDMI 2.1. Another new low latency thing. 120 FPS support. So I'm guessing they'll probably have 120 FPS support for, I guess, shooters, multiplayer stuff, Rainbow Six Siege, Apex Legends at 1080p probably, because that is what I believe it should be. It's unlikely to be like 120 FPS on 4K, unless it's like a pixel art game or something like, I don't know, Cuphead or something. Because with something like Cuphead, I think even my RX 570 should be able to do 4K, at least 30 to 60 FPS. So yeah, probably 120 FPS for those type of games or multiplayer shooters. Then we have game compatibility. Now this is something that they should have highlighted a bit more, the compatibility thing, that you can use any game from all the Xboxes, like from the first one to the 360 and the Xbox One, and then play them. So this is actually a good thing. And now this is something I need to do. What are they talking about? Buy game once you know that you're getting the right version of the game. Okay, so basically what this is you are playing the game on the right version. So basically if you're playing an Xbox One game, it's playing it as an Xbox One game, I believe. Okay, I'm not sure about this. If you know what this is, please let me know in the comments. Then the Xbox Game Pass. Of course, the Xbox Game Pass has been one of the more, I would say, popular and much more consumer-friendly thing they have done recently. And I've bought it quite a few times at the discounted rate of $1, and it's been great. So the thing that I wanted to talk about all of this is, all of this sounds great on paper. It looks great. It seems very powerful. It's got a lot of nice features. etc., etc. The question is, how much is this going to cost? Now, we have heard traditionally that these consoles are expected to be not more than 500. Like usually any console that has gone over that is not really a good idea, basically. The PS3, when it launched, was I think $600, and it had a difficult time. So if they are saying that this graphics card is close to the 2080 Ti, let's say it's not even close to the 2080 Ti, even if it's like close to, let's say, I don't know, 2070 Super, that is still quite an expensive thing. And to have that along with the SSD, I don't know how big the SSD is going to be, but at least 1 terabyte, because the games are getting quite big these days. So at least 1 terabyte. I don't think they'll go for 2 terabyte SSD, because that will just be too expensive. But let's say they put a 1 terabyte SSD and they put this Zen 2 and RDNA 2 system in it. It's probably going to cost them close to 400-500 anyway. So how are they going to sell it for 500? Unless they take a big hit in terms of hoping that people catch on and make Xbox the main thing. But PlayStation is doing the same thing as well. So, and it's also going to be using something similar. My guess is this is going to be around at least 600, more likely 750. That is my guess, because it would be too risky to go beyond that, in my opinion. And at 750, they'll probably be able to make a tiny bit of money, maybe pay AMD a bit. Of course, unlike the retail graphics cards that we buy, they don't actually have to do all of that inside this. They get it directly from AMD. Similarly, Microsoft being such a big company, they can get SSDs made cheaper for them and all of that. So it's probably not going to cost them as much. And of course, the graphics card don't cost as much as we end up paying for them, even in a place like India, for example. Because let's say something like the 5700 XT in India, it sells from around 40,000 roughly. But offline, I have heard stories of people getting it for like 32, 33. Plus in India, there is a tax on top of things. So these things obviously don't cost as much as they are sold for, but even then they are not cheap. So yeah, my guess is 600 minimum and about 750. And also I've heard rumors that there might be more than one version of the Xbox. It could be multiple versions. So Series X. So maybe it's starting at like a cheaper 600 price point, and then if you want all the bells and whistles, you pay maybe 800,000 even. Because of course we had the Xbox One S and the One X, so you have those versions, but the price difference wasn't as huge. I mean, it was still like 250 and 500, I believe, for the S and the X. So yeah, 600 and maybe 1,000, 700 and maybe 1,000, maybe, I don't know, 500 just seems very difficult to achieve unless they want to take, because the problem is if it's really that good and they sell it cheaply, then a lot of people will buy it, which means they'll lose more money. And if it's too expensive, nobody will buy it. So it's a bit tricky. And also I wanted to figure out what the Big Navi card is going to cost, because if it is coming out, and we're also hearing rumors of the sorry if this is bothering you, me scrolling up and down constantly, the NVIDIA 30 series, sorry, 3000 series I should say, they are probably going to drop it soon, because this pretty much says that we'll get a Big Navi sometime later this year, towards the end of the year probably. And NVIDIA likes to obviously compete, and they'll also drop something around the same time. So if they have a Big Navi that can compete with the 2080 Ti, it should not cost more than 800 in my opinion, 700 to 800, because there is a big gap between the 5700 XT and the 2080 Ti, and the only thing they have in between is the 2080. the Radeon 7 isn't technically sold anymore. So basically, it should come at the price of the Radeon 7 and be about the same or better than the 2080 Ti. That way, it would justify buying it, of course. And also, with NVIDIA's 3000 series coming out, if they price it too much, then NVIDIA is going to charge even more for their 3080 Ti or something. But yeah, these are all speculations, obviously. And I am interested in the Xbox One S. Of course, the problem here is in India, these things come late. They are more expensive at launch. Even now, they're expensive because, of course, we have taxes, plus our retailers are not the best. Let's say they are also quite greedy, so they charge a lot on top. Yeah, it's just a mess here. So anyway, let me know what you think about all of this. My thing is, I'm happy about the specs. I'm quite impressed. They look decent. Of course, games will be optimized for the hardware. But yeah, the price, I'm already worried about the price. I think it's going to be a lot more than we expect. Anyway, I wanted to share my thoughts because this is something exciting and interesting. A new generation of console, the Xbox, PlayStation 5. Because I also heard rumors somewhere that the PlayStation 5, it costs $450 to build. So if it's already costing them $450, even if they sell it for 500, they're barely making anything. And a 500 would mean when it goes to retail, it would be 600, 650, 700. Because obviously, even if they're taking a small cut on top of it, the retailers need to make some money off it as well, especially if they're offering discounts and things like that. So they could maybe add bundles of stuff with it to justify the price, maybe 700 with 5 games and like a 6-month Xbox Game Pass subscription, something like that, just to justify the people spending more, because of course 6-month Game Pass isn't going to cost them that much directly. Yeah, anyway, just wanted to ramble on about this. Looking forward to this. I'm a bit excited, if I'm honest, even if I can't afford it. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.